You're watching the Freakopotamus podcast with The Real Russell. All things R&B, funk, soul, and Prince. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Freakopotamus podcast. You ready for some R&B, funk, soul, and Prince? Let's go. And now, your host, The Real Russell.
Throw your cool signs up for Jellybean, y'all. Cool signs up for Jellybean, y'all. All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome back once again to the Freakopotamus Podcast, the show where we bring you the voices that shape the sound of yesterday. Also, the voices that shape the sound of tomorrow. I am your host, the real Russell. And today, as you know, today we lost a legend in music, a legend in the Minneapolis music scene, one of the baddest drummers and guitarists to ever do it. Today, we are taking a deep dive into one of the most influential yet underrated architects of the Minneapolis sound, a man who mastered not just one, but two instruments, played a major role in shaping the sound of legends. I'm talking about the one and only Gary George Jellybean Johnson. Man, I didn't have any intentions of coming on doing this today, but here we are once again, mourning the loss of another member of our Purple Circle. And I tell you, when we lose somebody in the Purple Circle, it hits different, man. I tell you, I did not expect this. No one saw this one coming. This was definitely a shock. Oh man, I don't even know where to begin, really. It's just been one of those solemn Purple days, man. But those of you who don't know, Jellybean Johnson, drummer for The Time, all these years, passed away today at the age of 69. Just celebrated his 69th birthday a couple of days ago. So if you want to know more about who is Jellybean Johnson, let's take a look real quick.
Is my whole being, you know. If I couldn't do music, I probably wouldn't exist.
Top hat and towering stature aside, Jellybean Johnson is one of the most unassuming music legends in Minnesota history and a pioneer of the Minneapolis sound.
I mean, I've heard him play some blues that you want to walk up to somebody and just slap them and hug them at the same time. That's how good he is. He's that good. That's Jellybean Johnson.
Few people know the Minneapolis sound better than Walter Q Bear Banks. He's been playing it at KMLJ Radio for 43 years.
Prince is probably the most notable person, you know, globally out of everybody and everything. But talent-wise, this cat was so amazing. It's just crazy how much talent he had and, you know, all the different instruments that he could play.
Gary Jellybean Johnson grew up in Chicago. At 13, his mom moved the family to North Minneapolis for a better life. To keep Gary out of trouble, she bought him his first real drum kit. He learned to play by listening to the radio.
When I moved here, black radio was only on for like 4 hours, from like 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Forced me to listen to a lot of white rock stations, and that's how I got into Three Dog Night and Black Sabbath and Rare Earth and all those kind of people and stuff. And that changed me too musically.
As a teenager, Gary found friends in the neighborhood with a similar passion for music. We now know them as Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, Morris Day, and Prince.
We would have this huge festival in the summertime, and all the rival bands and neighboring bands would come and play in front of thousands of people out in the park in North Commons Park over here and stuff. So we cut our teeth doing that as, you know, youngsters.
Once Prince signed his first record deal at 18, he brought some of his North Side friends along. Prince created The Time, made Jellybean the drummer, and put them on the map in Purple Rain.
Prince told Morris, you go back and get Jellybean, and we'll do the band. So you're going to sing. And Morris was like, I don't want to sing. I want to just... I don't want to sing. I want to play the drums. He's like, well, no, I'll teach you.
It was the 80s, and the Minneapolis sound was reinventing pop music. But behind the scenes, Prince's bands, including The Time, were falling apart. Eventually, Jellybean turned to producing. He went to work for Flight Time Records and his old friends Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who at the time were working with Janet Jackson.
We were doing Rhythm Nation, and we had got to the end of Rhythm Nation. And Janet came with a song. It was this little bar phrase on a cassette, you know, but it was on a piano, you know. So Janet brought that to me, and I was like, wow, and I told her, I said, your brother has like, Beat It and Dirty Diana and all stuff. I said, it'd be really cool if you had like a hard rock anthem.
So Jellybean turned the piano into an electric guitar, and that little bar phrase became the #1 hit, Black Cat.
And I told Janet, I said, I want you to sound like a rock and roll queen on that. Now, I wasn't sure that she knew what the hell I was talking about. But it turned out she did. We kicked everybody out of Flight Time, her boyfriend, everybody, kicked everybody out, just me and her. And, which is good anyway, because, to get that kind of sound, you got to be really, really loud.
Even now, some 40 years later, you can still hear Jellybean and that Minneapolis sound influencing some of music's biggest artists.
If you listen to Bruno Mars, you hear that he did his homework on us. He did his homework on, and he'll tell you that. He said, we played the Grammys with him one year, and he said that, he learned a lot of stuff from us.
Everybody! Greasiness, the funkiness, the stank, the grit, all of that's in it was exactly what the Minneapolis sound was.
And Jellybean's not done yet. At 64 years old, he just released a new album called Get Experience, the Jellybean Johnson Experience.
I have all these different layers to my musical journey and stuff. So that's what I try to do on this record. I put a little bit of all of them in there, even though everybody knows like funky. Everybody knows about the hard guitar stuff. So we got all that in there. And I just got a fabulous group of musicians together, and they were willing to give me their time to do this.
Back on stage at the Minnesota Music Cafe, Jellybean Johnson is in his element. Doesn't matter if it's for 1 or 100,000. He's here for the music, what it does for the soul. An unassuming music icon, writing the next chapter of his legendary career.
It's not just getting up there to play just because there's a paycheck at the end of the day. He loves his music and what he's done. And all the people that he's worked around have been touched by his musical career and are still being touched by it.
Amy Hockert, Fox 9.
All right. So if any of you know anything about the Minneapolis music scene, the name Jellybean Johnson. Jellybean Johnson is carved in purple. Born in Chicago, raised in Minneapolis, Jellybean became a cornerstone of the iconic band The Time, working closely with Prince, helping develop a funk sound that still influences artists today. What made him stand out? Well, most drummers stick to drums. Jellybean said, nah, I'll do guitars too. And he became elite at both. So basically, we'll talk about the Time and Prince connection. Let's talk about the Time for a second. This was the band that rivaled Prince on stage. And it's not easy to do. Jellybean held it down on drums, driving the beat behind classics like 777, 9311, Jungle Love, The Bird. Working with Prince was intense. I could imagine. Prince demanded perfection, and Jellybean delivered. But beyond performing, he also stepped into the studio world, becoming a go-to producer and guitarist in the Paisley Park universe. Let's throw up a clip here real quick. You guys will recognize this group. sir. So anyway, when the Minneapolis sound exploded, Jellybean was in the middle of it. He branched out from drumming and developed a reputation of gritty, emotional guitar solos. You can hear his guitar work on songs like Black Cat by Janet Jackson. Yep, that heavy rock edge. That's Jellybean. Nasty, production involvement with Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis. Tracks for Alexander O'Neal, New Edition. Mint Condition. He actually discovered Mint Condition. I actually met Jellybean back in 97. The time came to my city, and during intermission, some members of the band came out into the audience and were roaming around, taking pictures, signing autographs, and I was able to pull Jellybean to the side and talk about Mint Condition for a second. And he explained to me that they were like his sons, and he kind of took them under his wings and did some production work on their material when they first hit the scene. And also, let's see, a lot more. He didn't just play, he produced, arranged, and shaped records that went on to define the late 80s and early 90s R&B and pop as well. Hits that Jellybean produced, co-produced, Alexander O'Neal criticized. It's number 4 on the R&B charts. Nona Hendrix, Why Should I Cry? Number 5 on the R&B charts. New Edition, Crucial, number 4 on the R&B charts. Janet Jackson, of course, Black Cat, number 1. Rock, number 1. Pop, number 10 R&B. And, of course, Mint Condition, Breaking My Heart. Pretty Brown Eyes, number 3 on the R&B charts, number 6 on the pop, and Forever in Your Eyes, number 7 on the R&B charts as well. Let me go ahead and throw up the call-in number. I know a lot of you guys met Jellybean through the years, have taken photos with Jellybean, gone to a lot of concerts featuring Jellybean. As we all know, Jellybean was also a member of the family, aka F Deluxe. So basically, I'm just going to throw up some background music as we hang out here and vibe for a second. Hopefully, this doesn't overshadow my vocals here. Anyway, this is F Deluxe featuring Jellybean right here. So even after the peak of the Minneapolis sound, Jellybean stayed active. He toured, produced, collaborated, became a respected elder statesman of funk. He was also part of the original 7. The reformed version of the time, proving that the chemistry never left, and it didn't. And today, he still continued to perform with a fire like it was still 1984. Because once you've got that funk in your veins, it never leaves. Can you guys hear the music okay? Oh, Stephanie Mills. Good evening, Russell. Resting, having Jellybean Johnson. Didn't realize he just turned 69 on Wednesday. Yeah, just celebrated his birthday, actually. Thanks for joining, Stephanie. Thanks for joining, Mark Trenier. This is such a loss. I've been stunned all day. Yeah, definitely a shocker, no doubt. Did not expect to wake up to that news this morning, like many of you. Are you guys hearing the music? I'm not hearing it through my headset here the way I think I should. Anyway, I wasn't sure what I was going to do tonight. It was kind of a last minute decision, but I had to do it. And I just compiled a bunch of information, bunch of footage really quickly to do this tonight. I didn't want too much time to go by without acknowledging our brother, our purple brother. For those of you who are joined in tonight, I'm in a loud environment, so I can't really hear it unless I hold the phone up to my ear. I got you. Appreciate it. Also, for those of you who don't know, Jellybean also founded the Minneapolis Music Museum up in Minneapolis. Once again, call-in number is up, 803-400-8812. Those of you who want to call in, talk about Jellybean, share your memories, any experience that you've had with Jellybean. I know I've seen a lot of photos and pictures you guys have taken with Jellybean through the years. This is actually Jellybean on lead guitar. Hopefully it is coming through for you. Thanks for joining, Michelle. Sending my heartfelt condolences, prayers, and love. Gary George Jellybean Johnson, a legend, true funk soldier, a loving soul. Jellybean, thank you for your loving kindness and for the music. We shall miss you. Rest in paradise. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Jellybean was such a nice person. I mentioned earlier that I'd met him in 97 at a Time concert, and he was so nice, gracious enough to stop and hear what I had to say. We carried on the conversation about mint condition and the fact that those guys were my mentors. So I was actually in a band myself and definitely looked up to those guys. some reason, I don't think the music is coming through. For those guys who are joining in, can you hear the music that I'm playing through the system tonight? Thanks, guys, for those of you who are joining in tonight. For this tribute to the one and only Jellybean Johnson, commonly referred to as Bean. I think I resolved the music issue. Sorry, guys. Doing a live stream with no net. Now we've got music. My apologies. Now we've got music. I hear the bass. This is actually Jellybean doing lead on a live version of Black Cat. It looks like an intimate setting. Jellybean on lead guitar. Once again, call in number 803-400-8812. Those of you who feel like calling in, sharing your Jellybean memories, experiences meeting Jellybean. Super nice guy. Jellybean killing it on lead, man. Not only did he play drums, but he also handled the guitar very well. All right, let's go back to some of the music that you might have missed earlier because my audio wasn't cooperating with me. We're all familiar with this one. So why does Jellybean matter? Here's the thing. Most people know Prince, Morris Day, Jam and Lewis, but Jellybean is the glue that held the Minneapolis sound together. He's a symbol of versatility, a behind-the-scenes force, and a reminder that music history is often shaped by people whose names you should know. So if you've ever danced to a Minneapolis groove, if you've ever lost your mind to a ripping guitar solo, chances are Jellybean Johnson had a hand in that. I hear you, but no guitar. What about now, Michelle? How's the music coming through now? I think I resolved the issue. JB would hang out at shows, and you knew the band was good when he got up and played with them. It was an honor and a big deal when that happened. Still no music here. I hear your voice perfectly, but no music. That's weird. I'm hearing it come through my headset. Oh, wow. Very strange. Yeah, what I'm playing now is cool by the time live version. So shout out to Jellybean's family and friends. I would like to extend my condolences to his family, to his friends, his children, anyone that was close to Jellybean. I know a lot of you guys have met Jellybean over the years. I've seen the pictures, the selfies, the footage. Still no music? Wow. All right. Thanks for letting me know, Michelle. I will definitely make that correction going forward. Don't know what the issue is. Yeah, I've got music levels on my board coming through my headset perfectly. It's weird. Anyway, this is F Deluxe, formerly The Family, which we all know Jellybean was a part of as well. I'll let this one ride out for those of you that can hear it before I wrap it up. Those that still want to call in, you're welcome to do so. 803-400-8812. If you want to share any Jellybean experiences, memories, maybe you've had the opportunity to meet him over the years. I actually reached out to Jellybean about 18 months ago. No, 18 weeks ago. 18 months. 18 weeks ago, I was doing a segment on one of my shows about the deleted scenes from Purple Rain. And I showed a clip from the trailer of Purple Rain where Prince walks into the warehouse where the Time was rehearsing and gets into a scuffle with Jellybean. So I reached out to Jellybean for clarification on what exactly that scene was about. And he was gracious enough to respond and explain that that particular scene is basically it. He was coming in to the warehouse where the Time was rehearsing, and I was going to show the actual text that he sent, but I ran out of time trying to do too much today. But anyway, Prince shows up at the warehouse to rescue Apollonia and gets into a scuffle with Jellybean, and kind of roughed Prince up a little bit, and he felt bad about that. And he was basically trying to apologize to Prince for the manhandling. And Jellybean was already kind of perturbed that the Time broke up. And so I think he kind of let loose on Prince a little bit more than he should have. And Prince felt bad about it as well. But I was really appreciative that Jellybean reached back and kind of explained that scene to me. It's quite a mystery for a while. All good. Mercury is in retrograde until the 29th, and that can mess with tech, or so that say. Gotta run. Thanks. Good to see this. Yeah, thanks so much for joining, Michelle. Take care. Have a good night. Anita Owens Walker. This was such a shock. He will truly be missed. I had the pleasure to meet and hang out with him and the band on several occasions. Okay, cool. Very cool. A lot of you guys have had the great opportunity of meeting Jellybean, like myself, back in '97. All right. We've got no callers tonight. That's cool. I can understand. If you're hearing no music, I'm bobbing my head for no reason, but I'm actually hearing The Family or F Deluxe coming through my headset. All right, y'all. I think that's going to do it. I don't really have too much more to talk about. I think I covered it all pretty much. So that's going to wrap up our spotlight on the great Jellybean Johnson. Again, rest in peace. Drummer, guitarist, producer, and Minneapolis legend. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. I'm over on YouTube, TikTok as well, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, and that's it. So once you're there, make sure you hit the bell for future notifications for when I drop a new episode. You'll be notified. And wow, another purple one gone. Anyway, until next time, y'all, stay funky. And like I always say, live, love, and dream, y'all. We will see you on the next episode. Peace.